From a snowy hillside deep in the woods, John turned this place into an incredibly cozy green roof cabin, complete with a sheltered front porch and a fire glowing inside. But to end up with a hideout that livable, he had to cut timber, move earth, build the frame, and stubbornly push through the mountain coal. John starts by walking the slope and reading the ground, because where you build matters almost as much as how you build. He clears the brush first so the hillside quits fighting him before the real work even starts. More saplings come down, and the future footprint of the shelter finally opens up. A little smoke starts rising nearby, which tells you John is cleaning the site and staying warm at the same time. He keeps clearing outward, because extra room now means fewer headaches once the bill gets bigger. A small flock wanders through the frame, like the local inspection team showed up early and unpaid. With the site open, John starts cutting into the hillside, turning a rough slope into the start of a room. He keeps digging and leveling because an earth shelter only works when the ground underneath behaves. The first peeled post goes in, and that is the moment this stops being a patch of dirt and starts becoming a build. A second post follows, so the front opening finally has real shape and width. Now he ties the front together with a beam, giving the shelter a backbone instead of just good intentions. John starts lining the cut with more material, so the hillside holds its shape instead of slowly slumping back in. He brings in longer poles for the upper span because the roof needs something strong enough to trust. The main front beam gets fitted into place, and suddenly the opening looks deliberate instead of temporary. Once the header is seated, John can finally build the front like it is meant to last. He fills out the sidewalls with short rounds and packed material, which adds mass, structure, and a whole lot of character. More infill goes in, and the front wall starts looking thick enough to handle real weather. He keeps a fire going while he works because cold hands make dumb mistakes, and John is not in the mood for that. Now the first roof pieces start to span across the top, turning the cut in the hill into a covered space. He adds more curved members so the roof can carry load without feeling flat and awkward. The walls around the entry get tightened up, and the whole front starts reading like a real shelter face. John works the shell with more fill and packed earth, closing gaps before they turn into leaks. The roof line gets shaped and smooth, so water will move where he wants instead of wherever it feels like. A quick time jump shows the shell much further along, and the buried shape of the shelter is suddenly obvious. Long curved pieces go over the top, locking in that low earth-hugging profile. Now the roof really reads as an arch, and the whole build looks stronger just from the shape alone. He starts skinning the top with boards, giving the dirt and weather something solid to sit on. More covering goes down, so the roof can act like a roof and not just a hopeful pile of wood. Inside, one wall gets packed with cut rounds, which works like storage, insulation, and rustic flex all at once. Back outside, John cleans up the entry and roof edge so the shelter looks built, not just buried. He throws more earth over the top, blending the roof into the hill the way this kind of shelter is supposed to. Then he brushes and shapes the outside, so the whole thing settles into the landscape instead of sitting on it. From farther back, you can finally see the idea clearly. A low, earth-sheltered hideout tucked straight into the slope. Now John starts prepping posts for a front porch, because a good shelter gets even better with a dry place to stand. He strips and trims more round wood, keeping the porch parts clean enough to look intentional. With the main shelf stable, he marks out the porch line so the front can grow into a proper entry instead of a hole in a wall. The first porch post goes in, and the shelter instantly starts feeling more like a cabin than a bunker. A second support follows, which gives the front a rhythm and a real doorway zone. More front supports go up, and the porch outline becomes impossible to miss. He reinforces the beam across the front, so the porch can actually carry weight instead of just looking cute. Now John drops down to the threshold area, working on the entry floor where every trip in and out will land. He levels and packs the doorway base, because the prettiest porch in the world still needs solid footing. Next, he starts dressing the front wall, adding those short log ends that make the facade look rich and handmade. More rounds get fit around the opening, like he is wrapping the entrance in firewood and somehow making it classy. He keeps building out the same pattern, so the front reads as one clean design instead of random leftovers. By now, the facade is turning into the star of the whole shelter, and John clearly knows it. He refines the door opening and trim, so the front stays neat while all that texture builds around it. More cladding goes on around the window and door, and the face of the shelter gets tighter and cleaner. The front wall is almost there now, and the build finally has that finished house energy instead of active job site chaos. A little smoke and heat from inside are a good sign, which means the shelter is not just pretty, it is starting to work. We get a close look at the fire, and honestly, that is the kind of progress update nobody argues with. John hangs a weather layer around the opening, helping the front seal up before the final door details go in. A door panel and step pieces start showing up, which is when a shelter really starts acting like a home. He secures more trim around the opening, so the front can handle weather and still look sharp. From the outside, the facade now looks fully composed. Window, door, texture, and that low roof hugging the hill. John tidies the ground and edges around the front, because the outside approach matters once the build itself is standing. He adds trim under the roof edge, giving water fewer places to sneak in and the front a much cleaner line. Now he starts fixing the area in front of the shelter, turning bare ground into an entry zone people can actually use. He keeps leveling the front approach, like he is teaching the hillside some manners one shovel at a time. More small finishing touches go around the window and entry. Quiet work that makes a big difference later. Then he starts cutting pieces for an outdoor add-on, because John apparently does not believe in stopping when tired would be reasonable. He shapes longer poles for that next section, keeping the look consistent with the rest of the build. He lays out the first pieces for the exterior structure, which looks like it is going to become a covered porch frame. A time jump brings snow, and John keeps building like winter is just background scenery. He carries more lumber into the snow, which is a very committed way to say the project is not done yet. Tall outer posts go up at the front, extending the living space beyond the buried shelter itself. He frames in the side of that porch section, so the add-on feels integrated instead of stuck on. More roof framing goes over the new front area, and the porch starts getting real protection overhead. That roof closes in quickly, turning the entry into a much warmer, drier space. From the front, the porch now changes the entire vibe. Less survival hole, more hillside cabin. He keeps tightening the doorway under the porch, making the transition from outside to inside feel cleaner. A side panel goes in under the porch, closing the front just enough without making it feel boxed in. Diagonal bracing starts crossing the front posts, adding strength and also a surprisingly handsome pattern. He mirrors that bracing on the other side, so the whole porch looks balanced and built on purpose. Smoke curling out now is the best kind of progress report, because it says the shelter is warm and working. John clears snow and keeps staging the front, turning a good build into a good place to be. Up close, the porch and entry finally look inviting, like the shelter grew into its final form instead of being forced there. He adds a few last pieces near the front, small moves that make everything look finished instead of merely completed. More cleanup and adjustment happen at the porch floor, because final details are where John keeps separating good from great. From farther back in the snow, the whole place reads beautifully. Low roof, warm front, and a porch that actually belongs there. The shelter now blends into the hillside while still feeling livable, which is exactly what this kind of build is supposed to do. And the final cozy view seals it. John turned a bare slope into a warm little cabin hiding in plain sight. He adjusts the front corner in the snow, keeping the porch neat even after the weather turns on him. The cabin keeps getting little lived-in touches, which is how a project starts crossing over into a lifestyle. Another wide look shows the porch, braces, and green roof all working together, like the whole place finally found its final shape. John checks and tidies the entry one more time because he is clearly allergic to leaving small flaws behind. The snow only makes the warm front stand out more, and honestly, the contrast is doing him a favor. From the side, the shelter disappears back into the hill, which means the earth-sheltered idea really paid off. The final view says everything without trying too hard. This place is rugged, warm, and built to be used.